Greetings and salutations, YouTube. Welcome back to another episode of Jay Fixes Stuff. So this week I received an email from a woman named Jennifer, and she expressed some frustration that her snowblower has started pulling to one side. So I thought, hey, maybe other people might have that same question. So let's go over some reasons why your snowblower might pull to one side or the other. Now, there are about a dozen different things that can cause your snowblower to pull to one side or the other, especially if you have one of the fancy ones that has the power steering, or if you have the track kind where it looks like you're driving a tank. That's not the scope of this video. Today, we are focusing on the most common ones, and we're gonna hit the top 4 most common things that you're likely to see with your personal snowblower. All right, so let's get started. The number one cause of snowblowers pulling to one side or the other, it is this. It is the skid shoes. Now you have one on each side, and their purpose is to hold the snowblower up so that your scraper blade is a small distance off the ground, so that you're not destroying the blade, and so that you have just a little bit of clearance between the snowblower and the driveway or whatever else it is that you're snowblowing. So when one of these shoes is too high up or too low, then it will actually cause it to drag on one side, which will pull it to one side. So that's the most common cause, and you can fix that by adjusting it. And we can make another video about that soon. All right, moving on to number 2 on our list. The number 2 most common cause of a snowblower pulling to one side is tire inflation, or lack thereof. So if your tires are not inflated properly, say you have one that's getting flat, that will cause your snowblower to pull to one side. Now, you're going to want to check your owner's manual if you still happen to have it, and no one does. You'll want to check your owner's manual just to see what yours is supposed to be, because I've seen them call for as low as 8 and as much as 20, depending on what it is that you have for a snowblower. Now, usually on the side of the tire, you will see a max inflation. If all else fails and you can't Google your answer and find it, and you don't have an owner's manual, a safe bet is to go for 75% of whatever it says the max inflation on the side is. On this specific Ariens snowblower, it's a Deluxe 28 SHO, super high output. I'm not sure, honestly, what this one is supposed to be, but I keep it around 12. Now, it's important that you get that PSI relatively precise. You're gonna wanna get a gauge. You can pick one up for a couple of dollars in an auto parts store, or if you wanna get fancy, and you do know that I love my tools and gadgets, you can get something like this. This is something relatively cheap, and I wanna say I got this on Amazon. I'll try to see if I can find a link for you. This thing is super cool. The lady's voice is a little strange, but it's cool. So check this out. You hold down that middle button to turn it on. And then here is your PSI. So you push this button here until it gets to the number that you want. I'm not sure if the screen will show up on the camera or not, but let's set it to 12. And let's take this cap off. And then we'll hook it up. Ooh, it feels low. Oh, maybe not. All right, so then we're gonna hit the power button, and it will actually automatically shut off when it gets to what you've set it to be. So it might be a little loud, but let's give it a shot. Oh wow, it's very low. And as you saw, it shut off at what we set it to, 12. So I'm a bad snowblower owner. I was so low that it wasn't even showing up on the meter. All right, moving on to number 3. As this annoying bird is singing really loud in the background. Number 3 is a broken shear pin. Now, most snowblowers will have shear pins. And if you look here, this is the back side. This is the nut, and then the actual pin or bolt goes through here. These are designed specifically to break if you encounter too much resistance in your augers. So if you get, say, a piece of wood, a stick, maybe even a frozen newspaper, something that would normally damage this gearbox, these are designed to break, to save your machine so that it does not break. Now the problem is, because you're on that end of the snowblower, you may not even notice if your shear pin breaks. So what will happen is snow will start to build up on one side because the augers are not able to pull the snow back towards that impeller in the back, and it will actually cause resistance on one side of the snowblower. And you may even notice that you're not leaving a clean swath of snow being removed and that it's building up. And our fourth and final cause of your snowblower pulling to one side, it is axle bushings. So this is the axle that runs through that the wheel sits on. And I really need to clean this up. That's gross. Anyway, the axle bushing that the axle sits on inside of this wheel can get worn out, and it can actually cause one side of the snowblower to sit lower than the other. So that is not as common, but it's still one of our top 4. All right, so those are our top 4. And just to recap, we have uneven skid shoes. You'll want to set the height of those, and I'll make a video in the near future showing you how to do that. Number 2 was tire pressure. That's pretty self-explanatory, and you can use a gadget like the one that I showed you, or just a regular gauge. Number 3 was the shear pin. And the fourth and final is a worn out axle bushing. So I hope this quick video was helpful for you. I want to thank you for stopping by and hanging out with me for a few minutes, and we'll see you next time.